Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, sir. Happy weekend, sir.
I wish you same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So, what's happening? It appears you are the only one available.
I believe others will join soon. Many people are already in the holiday mood.
I was wondering why we have to. I thought the decision to have class today actually came from you.
No, sir. I just got the message on the platform too. So I'm not sure it comes from any of the students, but rather from the communication lady.
Okay. Because you chatted me if I will be available. I said, well, since I've not had any class with you people, I don't have problem with that because I'm actually on holiday now. I don't
Oh,
expect us to have a class, but since she suggested it, I felt it's something we can still do.
I think she just wants us to have introductory class.
Yes,
So
and that is fine. That is
okay.
fine. So I'm
We know.
waiting for them now. Have you had any class before?
Yes, we've been having classes for the past few months, like 2 months.
Wow. So it's just me that have not been available, right?
Yes, I just you, sir.
Are you serious? And you people did not even disturb me. You didn't call me. That means you are comfortable.
There was a time she asked us to do a poll whether we want to have the class in the morning on Saturdays or in the evenings.
And you did.
I'm not, yes, I'm not sure she gave us any response to the conclusion on that.
Cool.
But we've been having class consistently Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, especially Monday and Wednesday.
Wow.
Mm.
So how many of you?
We're six that have been consistent. We used to be eight, nine, but I learned that some people have along the line
Okay.
deferred their admission. But I
Okay.
know that six have been
Very
consistent.
consistent.
Yes.
Okay.
And one person have joined too.
Yeah, Wilfred has just joined. Good
Yes.
evening, Wilfred. Hello, good evening, Wilfred. You can unmute.
Good evening, doctor.
I greet you.
I greet you, doctor.
How are we
Nice
doing?
having you today.
Yes, I will just, we are discussing it now that it appears I'm the only one
We
that
are
has not been,
okay.
it appears I'm the only one that has not been coming.
Myself?
No, I said it appears it's only my lecture you people have not had or you've not been having.
Yes, yes.
And you did not disturb me. It appears you are very comfortable.
Well, we don't know. It depends where I was thinking that you were busy and maybe traveled out of Nigeria. Although
Ah.
anything can happen throughout the world. Uh,
Actually, I was very
well,
busy. We had
it's
a
not having you.
convocation. We had a convocation. So before
Okay,
then, I
yeah.
was very involved in the whole process. So I'm so sorry about that, but I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll still do something. We'll make up all the classes.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I think there's still
So
time.
we have just two of you now, Grace and yourself. So what do we do?
Okay, we three of us. Let's exercise
No,
patience for some time. Let's exercise. Let's wait for others to join. Maybe in the next 15 minutes.
okay.
Yeah, so just we
So,
wait for others to join, maybe in the next 15 minutes.
okay, let me just give you about 15 minutes more before we start.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So are you doing PhD or MPhil?
Mine is PhD.
Okay, Grace is PhD, right?
Yes, sir.
Great. That is very good. So what about Wilfred?
Not sure colleagues are available to join this class.
Hello.
Hello, doctor.
Yeah. So what do we do now?
No more. Can we not have it? I suggest
What
we
do we
have
do?
it.
Okay. Because I wouldn't want to repeat any
Okay.
class. If we are done with any aspect, it means we are done. And I
Okay.
won't go back to it. So that is why I am just thinking. But if you want us to just start, we can start for today. Or what do you think?
What? Maybe
Hello,
Madam
Grace.
Grace. I suggest we start. Maybe some more. Madam Grace,
All
what do
right.
you think?
The decision is yours, sir.
You said what?
I said the decision is yours, sir.
No, I don't have problem. I'm already here. So if you want us to start, we start. But my challenge is whatever we discuss tonight, I won't go back to it again. Are we together?
All right, sir.
All right. So I'm aware that Madam Grace is doing PhD. What about you, Wilfred?
Pardon? I'm DBA. DBA.
Okay, DBA. So
Yeah,
it's
DBA in
still like
business. Business. DBA.
yes, Doctor of Business Administration. It's okay. That is very good.
Pardon? Yeah, DBA in agribusiness.
Yeah, that is fine. That is very okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that
We
is
can
your own
hear you.
field.
No, you said you are doing DBA, not PhD. That is what you said. But why
No, I'm
Madam Grace is doing PhD, not DBA. Why you are doing
yeah,
DBA?
yes,
She's
me,
doing
I'm doing
PhD.
DBA.
Yes, Doctor of Business Administration.
Yeah.
So DBA is a professional doctor. I hope you are aware.
Yes, professional doctor.
Yes. Why PhD is academic doctor. So, but you both need to carry out a research. So research methodology is compulsory for all our postgraduate students, whether DBA, MSc, PhD, MPhil, you are meant to do research methodology. I hope you are hearing me, please.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Now, what
We can
exactly?
hear you, sir.
All right, thank you. So what exactly do we expect from you in this class? First of all, we expect you to understand the act of writing. The act of writing is important that you know how to write your thesis. So whether you are doing PhD or DBA or MSc or MPhil, you are to carry out a research. And we expect you to know how to go about it. Therefore, in this class, we are going to be looking at research methodology and scientific writing. Scientific writing simply means how you can write your thesis. So, for instance, if you are writing a note on business administration, you are writing a note on management, you are writing a note on human resource management, the same way you are writing the note in those courses I mentioned, you may be doing the same thing. But when it comes to research, we expect you to understand how to go about it. In other words, the thesis writing is quite different from dealing with any other profession in terms of writing. So we expect all our students to be able to understand how to go about research. And so in the course of this class, we are not just going to take you through the theory, we are going to make sure that you understand the practice. So, and that is why we call it research methodology and scientific writing. So you can also call it academic writing or academic research. So like as I said, the only difference between you who is doing DBA and the one who is doing PhD is that you may not defend your thesis, but the PhD will defend the thesis. So, but every other thing is going to be the same. Every other thing is the same. Now, having said that, there's need for us to understand the concept of academic writing, or if you like, you say research writing. What is research? Research, as the name implies, it denotes to re-investigate what has been previously investigated. In other words, what is already in the public domain. So the word re means to check again, to reinvestigate, to re-examine. So in other words, for you to do a research, it means there is something that is already known. So it's on the basis of what is known that you can build on it. I will call it research. So the research begins from the known to the unknown. For instance, if there is something that you want to carry out or you want to investigate, it's because you already have some level of knowledge about that particular thing, and that is why you are interested in carrying out more information about it. That is why you are interested in knowing much about that area. So it means that you already have some knowledge about what is going on in that area. So you need to know more. You need to find out why things are the way they are. So that is why we are saying research essentially begins from the known to the unknown. For instance, if you have a challenge with your employees, that you have a challenge is something you're already aware of. But what is responsible, you may not know. The extent to which that problem is affecting your business, you may not know. So, but that there is a problem is what is already known. But how to go about it is the reason why you want to carry out the research. So research begins from the known to the unknown. And that is why in the course of this class, we expect you to come up with a researchable topic. So we're going to take you through all of those things so that you'll be able to carry out your research to solve a particular problem. At this point, I also want to say that there are two types of research. We have what we call the basic research, and we have what we call the applied research. Basic research is when you just come up with a topic, carry out a research on that topic, and communicate the findings. Not necessarily somebody is interested in that area or not. Let me take that again. If there is a need for you to carry out a research in the course of this your PhD, which is definitely going to be, we expect you to come up with a topic. Now, when you are coming up with a topic, whether that topic is actually a problem that is affecting an organization or not, we just expect you to come up with a topic. Now, when you do that, when you are not addressing a particular issue as affecting an organization, not because the organization is in need of that research, not because the organization is going through a particular problem, but you just felt there is need to carry out a research in one area. For instance, maybe I'm carrying out a research on employee engagement. The question is, which organization is interested in employee engagement? The question is, which organization asks you to come and help them to solve the problem of employee engagement? If there is none, then whatever research you are doing on employee engagement is called basic research. But the situation whereby there is a problem that is affecting a particular organization and you want to solve it, so you are going to design a research to address that particular problem. So when you carry out research in that manner, it's called applied research. And of course, it can be applied. For those in business research, like the BBA, they expect you to carry out a research that is tailored towards solving a particular problem. Even though those in academics, we also expect them to carry out a research to solve a problem, but we don't make it an issue if you don't solve a particular problem, but we just want you to address an issue within the society. So not necessarily that issue is affecting one organization or the other. Having said that, the primary purpose of research is to contribute to knowledge. In other words, contribution means something already available, you need to add to it. So there is a level of knowledge available in a particular field, but you want to add to that knowledge. So that is the essence of research. If at the end of this class, or for those who are doing PhD, there is a question you cannot escape. The question is, what have you contributed to knowledge? What is this your research contributing to knowledge? So the primary purpose of carrying out a research is to contribute to knowledge, is to break new ground, or to discover new possibilities. Are we still together?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Also, why thesis writing? Why are we engaging in thesis writing? Is it just a ritual that you need to carry out or perform in the course of your postgraduate studies? Actually, aside being a core requirement, that is one of the core requirements you must fulfill before you can get your PhD, aside being that, it also enables students to develop investigative and research skills. It helps students to grow critical and analytical skills. And of course, it helps students to make new contributions to knowledge. Therefore, before we can carry out a research, there is something you must do, and we call it researchable topic. How do we know a topic that is researchable? How do we know that a topic can be called researchable or is fit to be addressed as researchable topic? What makes a researchable topic researchable? First of all, a topic is a sentence that envelopes the research problem. When you tell us your topic, somebody can see a problem in that topic. If you mention a topic and it does not reveal a problem, then it's not good enough. So a researchable topic reveals the researcher's focus and it gives direction to the entire thesis. So just take note of that a researchable topic envelopes the research problem and it also reveals the focus of the study. I'm going to show you examples so that you can understand how it reveals the focus of the study. Again, it contains essentially, very important, it contains variables, usually dependent and independent variables. Every researchable topic must have at least two major variables, which we call dependent and another one independent variable. So the dependent variable is called the problem variable. The problem you want to solve is the dependent variable. What you think is responsible that is causing that thing to happen is called independent variable. And you can call it presumed cause, and why the dependent variable is presumed effect. Am I communicating at all?
Yes, sir.
For instance, if you say you want to carry out a research on employee engagement, then it means that the problem you want to solve is employee engagement. But the question anybody will want to ask is that, what about it? Why are you carrying out a research on employee engagement? What do you think is the reason for employee engaging or not engaging? What are you thinking? Whatever you think is responsible that you want to find out is called the independent variable, and we call the presumed cause. Why what you want to investigate is called the presumed effect. For instance, we talk about employee engagement. So if I feel that motivation is the reason why employees are either engaged or not engaged, then my topic may be motivation and employee engagement. So which means motivation is an independent variable, while the employee engagement is the dependent variable. So we call it the problem variable, while the independent variable is the cause or the presumed cause. So you must take note of that every research topic, having revealed the focus or the problem you want to solve, essentially it must be divided minimum 2 variables, dependent and independent variable. So you must take note of that. It may also contain supporting variables, such as antecedent, intervening, mediating, or moderating. I'm going to explain this to us as we make progress. Are we together?
Yeah.
Good. So, like as I said, minimum topics, the variables that minimum 2, dependent and independent. So, again, if, for instance, you discover that leadership or motivation as affecting employee engagement has been over, maybe the topic is overflowed. That is a lot of work has been done on that. You may still go ahead with such, but you introduce a third variable to it. That third variable can either assume the position of moderating or it can assume the position of mitigating. So in other words, that will make it new, different from what is already common within the body of knowledge. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, like as I said, it may also contain supporting variables such as antecedent. Now, if I say determinants of leadership style, that word determinant is called antecedent, something that can lead to leadership style. So we call that antecedent. If I also say predictive role of employee engagement, that predicting is also called antecedent. What can lead to something? It's not what you want to carry out, but what can lead to it. We call that antecedent. Then again, if, for instance, there are 2 variables that can actually work together without any intervention, let me give you an example. The relationship between leadership and employee engagement is there. We don't need a third variable to come in before we can say that that relationship exists. So if you carry out a research on leadership and employee engagement, the relationship will show that there is a strong relationship. So that is already known. But if you bring in a third variable into that relationship, the position of that third variable is moderating. Why is it moderating? Because the 2 variables can work. There is a relationship already. So whatever comes in is either it will strengthen that relationship or it may have no effect on that relationship. So whatever comes into that relationship can best be described as moderating. But what about the mediating? If the 2 relationships cannot work together, except there is intervention, whatever the intervention is called mediating. Let me give an example. For instance, let me first of all use this scientific example, this example from sciences. You know that when you come to your house, are you listening to me?
Yes, we are listening.
Good. When you come to your house now, I want to switch on the light. The light is on the ceiling, while the switch is by the wall. So if you come and you just press the switch, the light will just come on. So which means that there is a connection between the switch and the light. And the bulb that will eventually show the light. So there is a connection. But there is something that if it is not there, that relationship will never work. If you like, press that thing 20 times or 1 million times. The light will never come on. Can you tell me what that thing is? That if it's not there, that relationship can never work. What is it?
The transmission cables.
Maybe current. Current.
Good. So
Current.
you can imagine if the current is not there, if you like, press that thing 1,000 times. Would there be light?
No.
So that something must be there before it can work. Whatever it is called mediating. Mediating. Am I making sense at all?
Yeah.
When something does not necessarily need to be there, but if it's there, it can either increase the relationship, the strength of the relationship, or it may not even have anything to do with it. Whatever it is moderating. But when something has to be there before it can work, whatever it is called mediating. So by the time we begin to see examples, researchable examples, then you will understand better. But it's important for you to understand what is called moderating and what is called mediating. That's why I'm using these two examples to explain the meaning of moderating and mediating. Does that make sense at all?
Yes.
All right. Let me give you one example again. Now, for some of you who understand the meaning of marketing orientation, that means those things you need to undergo to understand the marketing very well. So maybe you need to go through some certain training before you can go into the business. So
We have lost you here.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I've lost you here too. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I said I want to give you another example. Are we together?
Yeah.
Now, I want to look at the relationship between marketing orientation and performance of cocoa exporters or performance of any product that you are exporting. But let's just use cocoa as an example. Now, if I talked about the marketing orientation, how going through such training can help somebody to perform better in the exporting business. So I decided to use marketing orientation as independent variable, while the performance of cocoa exporters is the dependent variable. Now, there is something that I want to introduce into that relationship. And I'm going to ask you a question now, whether if I introduce that thing into the relationship, what will be the position of that third variable? Is it going to be moderating or mediating? So I would like you to think very well before you answer me. Now, what is the relationship? Let me establish it first. Marketing orientation and performance of cocoa exporters. So if I chose to bring in government policy into it. Government policy into it. What is the position of government policy in this relationship? Is it moderating or mediating? Now that I've explained the meaning of moderating, I'm mediating to you. So I would like you to respond to that. Madam Wilfred. Sorry, Madam Grace.
I think it's actually moderating because the policy can have effect on the performance of the export as well.
So what did I say is the meaning of moderating? What is the condition for using the word moderating? Can you tell me the condition?
It brings about the effect.
No, I said you can only use moderating if that relationship can exist without any intervention. So whatever intervention can only act as moderating.
We lost it, sir. Your voice went off, sir.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I said, when you talk about moderating, I want to emphasize on that again.
Okay, sir.
You can only use the word moderating if the two variables can relate without any third intervention. If they can relate without any third intervention. So if eventually there is third intervention, that intervention can only strengthen it, make it strong, or it may have nothing to do with it. But if the relationship can work without any intervention, that relationship, that third intervention can best be described as moderating. But the situation whereby the two variables cannot relate except there is a third intervention. When that third intervention comes, it becomes mediating. The word middle, mediating. So with the example I gave you now, I asked, would government policy act as moderating or mediating? That was the question I asked. Can somebody respond to that?
I think it's moderating because cocoa performance, cocoa exporters' performance to some extent can work without government policies.
Okay, I like that. I like the way that means you understand what I'm saying. But do you know a lot of people have argued that when it comes to the use of export, it is impossible for exports to happen without government intervention.
Yeah, export can happen without government intervention in some cases. It can also export may also not be able to happen without government intervention. With the government intervention, make export to be easy, to be an easy transaction.
Okay, that is an opinion, but a lot of people have argued.
Opinion, sir,
Yeah.
is that if government give a policy that places a ban on the export of particular product at a particular time.
So which means the government involvement is a must before the relationship can work. That's what you are trying to say?
I am saying that it also depends on some other factors, and it also depends on the prevailing policy at a particular time.
Because when you talk about policy, we're still talking about government intervention now, government policy, government intervention. Because some people have argued that you can never talk about export without some documentation from the government. Do you also agree with that?
Well, I don't want to say that in Nigeria, we don't even know what is or what is not again. There are some regulations that must be followed to the latter, and there are some that people bypassed.
Okay.
And yes, it still flies. You
Wow.
know? So in a situation where everything is quite regulated and the structure, there is a laid or laid down structure that is effective, then I think we can have this conversation effectively.
Love that. But do you know that when we are carrying out a research, we always assume that we have to do the normal thing, all things being equal, how it ought to be. Do you understand? But
Yes.
even though along the line, you may discover that things are not what you think. You know, it's possible.
Yes.
So in your thinking now, if you are to carry out a research between a marketing orientation and performance of cocoa exporters, would government intervention be moderating or mediating?
Honestly, it is a dicey. How do I put it now?
In this case, the way you have put it, sir, is that it's mediating, because export is an international trade,
Good.
and
Good.
sometimes it's an international trade, and there are agreements.
Yes.
What I think what politicians or government call bilateral agreements that must happen between two countries before there's any international trade between the two countries. So if there's no agreement between country A and country A, which is an exporting country, may not be able to export to country B, which is the receiving country. So in this case now, from this example now, it will be mediating.
All right. So now,
Well,
like as I said, okay, go ahead.
I will say it is mediating. My own reasoning will now be because the marketing orientation is actually dealing with some other factors or some other activities that does not necessarily related to government policy. It is more of the effectiveness of that marketing orientation in the performance of the farmers' export. It does not necessarily have to do with the policies or not. So that's why it can be mediating in this case. That's why I think.
All right. So that is fine. I want to go with what you have said, but I also want you to understand that in research, are you listening to me? What you
Yeah.
consider moderating, someone else can consider it as mediating. The result will show what it actually is. So if eventually your result shows that it moderates, then you report the way it is. And if your result shows that it does not moderate, then someone else can now go into it and say, since this one did not moderate, let me use it as mediating and see what it will be. But what informed your decision in the first place to know the position of whether moderating or mediating is to know the meaning of the two. That when two variables can happen without any intervention, whatever you bring in, it can only act as moderating. But when two variables cannot work, except there is a third intervention, that third intervention is called mediating. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now look at this topic. Then another thing again that you must also know about researchable topic, which is very, very important. I wish everybody is here tonight so that we will all be on the same page on the issue I want to raise now. Because it's one of the most important aspects of your research topic. The most important aspect. And the moment you get it right, you will fly all through. You will not have any problem with your research. What I want to say now. Now, we are looking at what makes a research topic researchable. We have said that number one, it enveloped the problem. Now, how does it envelop the problem? For instance, when we say marketing orientation and cocoa exporter, performance of cocoa exporter, we are saying that there is a problem with cocoa exporters, and if they are engaged in marketing orientation, the problem is likely to be solved. That is just by looking at the topic. That is what we are trying to say. So when I see a topic, the topic must envelop a problem and it must reveal the focus. Number two, it must contain variable. Very, very important. But this variable I mentioned here, if you look at what I wrote here, say which is further. Can you see what is there? Number the second point. Can we all see the second point?
Yes, sir.
Can you read it out? Which is further? Can you read it?
Divided into measurable constructs.
Beautiful. If you understand this aspect of topic, friends, you are done with your thesis. If you understand this aspect, you are done with your thesis, because everything you are going to do about your thesis is around this issue I just raised here now. So I'm going to explain it to you so that you understand it. So I said there must be dependent and independent variable, and I said which is further divided into measurable constructs. Every researchable topic must be measurable into constructs. Even though you have been able to separate dependent and independent, both dependent and independent, you must be able to measure them into what we call constructs or indicators. Indicators. This aspect is the most important aspect of a topic. It's the most important aspect of a topic. Now, what do we call indicators? For instance, if I talk about motivation and employee engagement, that motivation, you must be able to break it down into indicators or measurements or constructs. So in other words, what do you call motivation? Are you talking about salary? Are you talking about promotion? Are you talking about benefits? Are you talking about work-life balance? Are you talking about training? So if you cannot break any variable into measurable indicators, you are likely to have problems. So your ability to measure it into, to break it down into measurable constructs is the most important aspect of your research work. Because if you fail to do that, you are likely to have problem in communicating your results. You will just keep measuring or using the word motivation, and somebody will ask you, what aspect of motivation have you discovered that has most effect on the other? But because you are not able to break it down into constructs, you are likely to have problems. This is the most important aspect of the research topic. Am I making sense at all?
Yes.
So both dependent and independent variable, you must be able to measure it into constructs, into indicators. Failure to do that, you will have problem or two. Why? Because your objective must be broken down into indicators. Your hypothesis must reflect in your indicators must reflect in your hypothesis. Your review of literature must be done based on those hypotheses, based on those indicators. Construction of your questionnaire must be done based on those indicators. Interpretation of your results must be done based on those indicators. Your findings, conclusion, recommendation must be done based on those indicators. Just imagine you don't have indicators. You will struggle all through. You will struggle all through. So anytime you have a topic, always think of how do I measure it? How do I break it down into measurable indicators or constructs? This is one of the most important aspects of research. You cannot get this, you are likely to have problems. Are we still together?
Yeah.
Now look at this topic. I've been using this topic in all my examples because it's very easy to relate with. I said student entrepreneurship education and entrepreneurial implementation intentions in Nigeria universities. Student entrepreneurship education is an independent variable here. Entrepreneurial implementation intention is the dependent variable. So here, me looking at this topic, I am looking at how the establishment of entrepreneurship education has helped or can help to bring about students being able to start their business after they have gone through the training. So that is just what this topic is showing to us. Student entrepreneurship education, would that translate into having businesses or having idea to start a business? So that is the meaning of this topic. So someone can also interpret it as because the student entrepreneurship education is put in place, a lot of students have been able to start business, or it could also mean that a lot of students still graduate and they are looking for a job and they are not relating to the education they have acquired at all. So the question is, what can we use to measure this? First of all, you break it into dependent and independent. And like as I said earlier, the independent is called the presumed cause, while the dependent is called the presumed effect. So what is the presumed cause here? Student entrepreneurship education. What is the presumed effect? Entrepreneurial implementation intention. So we have been able to break this down into indicators. Into variables. Now, what then are the indicators? When we say student entrepreneurship education, we are referring to curriculum content. That is indicator. We are referring to entrepreneurship pedagogy. We are referring to the teaching method. We are referring to education competence. These are indicators that measure entrepreneurship education. But when you also talk about entrepreneurial implementation intention, we talk about business idea generation. We talk about business startup. We talk about opportunity identification. We talk about business writing, business plan writing. All this can be explained as measurement or indicators. Do we have problem here?
No, sir.
When you come up with your topic, we also expect you to have all of this.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm okay. Except that
right.
the communication from your end is breaking. I don't know whether it is my end or it's general.
Okay, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So I was saying that when you have your variable, you must be able to break it down into these indicators. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we taking it from here now, every other thing we are going to be doing will be based on these indicators. You want to formulate objective, it must be alongside with these indicators. You want to formulate hypothesis, it must be done along with these indicators. You want to write your literature review, it must be done along with this indicator. Every other thing you are going to be doing must be done along with this. So that is why I said it's one of the most important aspects of your research topic. Any question? Any question?
It's understood.
What of Madam Grace?
It's clear, sir.
All right, so I wouldn't want to go too far because any other thing we're going to be doing will be based on all of these things. So we're going to stop here so that others will not mix so much. But if you have any question, you can ask now.
Thank you, sir. It's quite an interesting class. My question, I don't think it's a direct question, but I think it is more clarification, sir, on the moderating and mediating things. Can we please have it one more time, sir?
All right, I was saying that when you talk about moderating, just understand the meaning is that is something that can strengthen relationship. The relationship already exists. There is a relationship between A and B. But if you bring a third party to it, the third party is not the reason why that relationship exists. It can only strengthen it. It can only make it stronger, or maybe it does not even have a relationship or effect rather on it. In that way, you can say moderating. The word moderate means that it's not the ultimate. It can only affect the relationship. But when you say mediate, meaning that it's at the middle, mediate, meaning that the two cannot exist except a third variable comes in. So having understand the difference between moderate and mediate, every other example we're going to be using, you have to be using such example, putting into consideration the meaning of the two. And that was why I gave you an example today about marketing orientation and performance of exporters. And I said government intervention, government policy. So the question is, can moderating orientation affect exporters? If yes, do you think government coming in, the export business can exist without government intervention? If no, then government intervention becomes mediating. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So any other question?
Other question, sir, is that do we have synopsis for this course?
Thank you very much, Doctor. I said thank you very much for the lecture. I will go and look at the examples again and the all aspects that we have discussed this evening.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Grace and Wilfred. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
And good night.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Wilfred, what is the pronunciation of this your name? Iraho.
Yes, Iraho.
From where?
From Edo State. Benin City, Edo State.
Okay. So it sounds like that. So that is why I say, let me find out from you.
Okay, thank you. From Benin City, Edo State.
Yeah. All right. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Madam Grace, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
I appreciate, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. At least we have started, right?
Yes, we've started.
Thank you. So let others know that we have started.
All right,
and
sir.
that it's going to be more of practical class.
Thank you, sir.
So good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Yeah. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.